Virgo, yo.
Yo.
Blackenfist, yo.
Yo.
Virgo, yo.
Yo.
Blackenfist, yo.
Yo.
Alright, we're good. Alright, everybody, what's going on? It's Thundershot, and I'm here today with Virgo Durai and Blackenfist. And what we're here to discuss today is who was the real main character of Dragon Ball Z, at least up through the Cell Saga. And basically, the argument that we're going to have today is, was it actually Gohan? And obviously, by the end of the Cell Saga, leading into the Buu Saga, Gohan was the go-to guy. Goku was dead. Gohan was the strongest warrior alive. Gohan was the main guy at that point. But the real question today is, what about leading up to that? There were times when it looked like Goku, but was it really Gohan underneath all along? Gohan was involved in a lot of fights leading up to that where Goku wasn't. There were a lot of times the main character was absent, but Gohan was in there putting in work. What do we think about this, guys? Anybody have anything they want to lead with?
I will lead with the simple fact that if you compare Gohan to the way Dragon Ball, the original Dragon Ball series went, where it pretty much tracked Goku's life growing up, and I feel like Z ended up being more of a passing of the torch, whereas you had Goku because that's who was familiar from the series, but yet you see in glimpses and in spurts Gohan's potential and Gohan stepping up to the plate. You see it, initially, at a lot of people's favorite scene where he jumps out, and basically because of Gohan, he's the catalyst for Raditz being defeated in the first place. They made sure that you knew that Raditz was weakened enough from Gohan's blow that Goku's, full Nelson Yamalock was able to actually work.
Blackenfist, do you have anything you want to say?
There's a lot of arguments out there about whether Gohan or not was supposed to be the main character in later parts of Dragon Ball, but I definitely think that Goku through and through was the main character and was intended to be the main character all the way until probably the late Cell Saga. And of course I'm working with what I think Toriyama was thinking at the time, which is kind of hard to imply, but it's kind of easy when there's interviews out there that have stated that, as we all know, Toriyama really doesn't think his stories through, and that's just the way his writing style works. But particularly for the Cell Saga, it's one of those instances where a lot of the stuff that happened in the Cell Saga was just like Toriyama thinking off the cuff, not knowing where the story was going at all. And I do think that that Gohan being intended to be the hero of the Cell arc is actually not even something that Toriyama was intending to do, at least not in the beginning. But as far as all of the Z era, I do believe that for the most part, through and through, Goku was intended, and it did seem that Goku was the main character. Although Gohan did have roles in that, like for instance his whole thing about getting angry and exploding with power and doing something dramatic. I just feel that was something part of Gohan's character at the time, and it was explained that at the time at least that part of the reason Gohan had that character trait was because of his human and Saiyan hybrid mixture. I think they kind of backed off of that once Goten and Trunks were introduced, but I think clearly Goku was still in the main role, and maybe Gohan was foreshadowed to become something greater than he was, especially, but Goku was still in the main seat by far, definitely.
Okay, and I think it's obviously hard to argue with interviews with Akira Toriyama where he says himself he has no idea where he's going. He didn't intend for anything. He just kind of wrote. But to kind of, I don't know, I don't want to say suspend Toriyama because obviously he's the creator of it, but to just kind of just go off of the actual story itself and what actually happened. I know, obviously, Goku's the front. It looks like Goku is the main guy, but there are a lot of times when Gohan is just as involved in the action, if not more involved, than Goku. Now, obviously, when Goku shows up, it's time for him to save the day, but the way I see a lot of the arcs up through Frieza and even getting into Cell, it almost seems like Goku and a lot of other main characters are solely there, not solely there, but are there, and one of their main purposes is to shield Gohan while he becomes this great thing that he becomes in the Cell Saga. For example, when Goku's training on King Kai's planet, while Goku's training, And that's some stuff that we see. And Gohan's also training. That's some stuff we see. Tien and the rest of the Z fighters are training. They're all kind of sharing that. And then once the fight actually breaks out, Gohan is there at the fight. Gohan is there doing that while Goku's running back from Snake Way. Same thing with the Ginyu Saga. Gohan is there fighting the Ginyus, like trying to stay alive, trying to do his thing, trying to live on his own. Goku was on his way. Goku's not there involved in the action. And I think all of this continues to build up. And I know Virgo was telling me earlier, we see Gohan get a lot of really, like Raditz included, getting a lot of really good hits in on some of these top guys, and I think it's all building up until his moment is like he's supposed to come out and be this great thing. But I think it's almost backseat main character comes to mind is the only thing I can think of where it's not blatantly obvious, but Gohan is always there and Gohan is always involved, and I think that's something that can't really be ignored.
What I do want to add to that, if you even like compare, like once again, going back to Dragon Ball, you compare like whenever Goku has this really weird habit of being gone from anything. Yeah. You're like, and not even just by son, by friends, by everyone, Krillin gets his neck stepped on, it is what it is. Goku's not there. But in Dragon Ball, when Goku was gone, everyone was just getting their ass kicked or dying until Goku showed up. And in the case of Dragon Ball versus Dragon Ball Z, they were mainly just getting their ass kicked. However, with the presence of Gohan, in the Frieza saga, in the Saiyan saga, Gohan was not only there as somebody getting licks in, but he was also viewed as a threat by every enemy he laid hands upon. Nappa and Vegeta both looked at him as a threat. Raditz obviously saw him as a threat.
Maybe not initially, but eventually.
Not initially. Most people said, "Oh, pipsqueak," but Nappa got enraged after Gohan, kicked the shit out of him. Kicked him in the face. So now he, shoots a blast at him, kills Piccolo. Gohan is pretty much broken at this point, and Nappa's like, hey, at least you're a Saiyan warrior. You're a proud Saiyan warrior, and you definitely got, you got the guts to show it. As he's, going to stomp him out, then Gohan saved, and Goku comes in and does his thing. You get into the Frieza, even during the Frieza saga, during the Ginyu arc, Recoome seems untouchable, and Gohan has a burst where he actually does put hands on Recoome, and they get into it after Vegeta becomes incapacitated. Recoome ends up breaking his neck. Gohan, out of everybody in that group that was fighting Recoome, goes the farthest and pays the highest price for the fight. Then you go into the whole Frieza situation. Everyone is terrified of Frieza, and Gohan blacks on Frieza, goes crazy, and has Frieza actually look at him like that kid can be a trouble. And it just keeps going on and on and on like that up into the buildup of the Cell Saga. So to me, what the series did, regardless of intention, I won't even argue intention on this one, but what the series seemed to do was to follow Gohan going against progressively stronger enemies, whereas he surpassed people, like he surpassed Krillin, he eventually surpasses Piccolo, and you see Gohan go from being a recruit, an upstart, to someone who's reliable.
And I will say this to kind of aid that. We see Piccolo do it in the Saiyan arc. We see Vegeta do it in the Frieza arc. And then we ultimately see Goku realize it in the Cell arc. They all say at one point in time, he is the strongest one of everybody here. Piccolo says it, and he could potentially be the strongest one here. Vegeta says it during Frieza Saga when Gohan gets a good hit on Frieza. He's like, he could be the Super Saiyan. You know what I mean? And it's all these build-up things. And obviously we have to ignore the Buu Saga because of the way writing was changed. Gohan was going to be the guy. But what were you going to say, Blackenfist?
Well, you guys mentioned that Gohan definitely got his kicks in and everything, and I think that's one of the reasons why the Cell, him beating Cell was such a great moment in Dragon Ball, was because of all the things that happened before, and it definitely built up to that point, and it was a character arc in Gohan's own personality. I do believe that it's not unique to Gohan, however. Gohan's part of the main cast. Vegeta got his moments, Piccolo got his moments. Those two characters most prominently did throughout the whole series. And even compared to early Dragon Ball, you can't say that Goku just took all the glory, because Tien Shinhan was pretty formidable back then as well. But I just feel like I just feel like, yes, although we can say that Gohan, it was never, I mean, although we can say it was probably never intended to be, it probably did line up pretty well because of all that we saw in the series of Gohan doing and becoming a formidable fighter in his own right and all that. But all the things Gohan got, I think, weren't very unique to him, honestly, because you could almost make an argument that Vegeta got more spotlight, or Piccolo got his own moments, and Trunks was definitely had his own moments, even though he was really only in a very small section of the series and only in one arc. Future Trunks, of course.
Well, what I could actually counter argue that, even though you raise a very good point, the big differences with all of them is none of them got that big one. None of them got that boss kill, so to speak, and Gohan did. So where you had people who did have their moments of shine, as every character in every story should have, a moment of shine. No one got the gratification of actually putting a stamp on their arc. There's no real arc where Vegeta or Piccolo had a stamp on, in my eyes. They don't have I don't think back to this arc and I'm like, yeah, man, remember when Piccolo, kicked the shit out of Frieza and saved the day and, stamped that and said, this is mine. I have that with Gohan, who got that build up into that stamp.
I will say...
Yeah,
go ahead.
Well, I agree with you, but we were talking about him doing stuff to Raditz and doing stuff to Frieza and stuff like that. Well, I can say that Piccolo did stuff to 17 and Vegeta did stuff to 19 and Frieza. So although they didn't get their stamp, they all had prominent moments like Gohan. And of course Gohan, because he was the son of the main protagonist, did get that chance. So
I will say I don't think there was ever a time when I thought Vegeta or Piccolo, Trunks maybe for a little while, but I don't think there was ever a time when I thought Vegeta or Piccolo and I looked at them and I thought maybe they're going to be the guy, maybe they're going to be the next guy, and I think that's what Gohan was being built up to. But I have a question for you, Blackenfist. If the Majin Buu, for those of you who don't know, I'm just going to go ahead and point it out to anyone who may not be aware right now. He made out of note his intentions when he started the Android Cell Saga, but by the end of the Android Cell Saga, Gohan, like I said before, was clearly the guy next in line. He was the strongest fighter on the world. Goku was dead. Goku was out of the picture. Gohan was perfectly lined up to be the hero. Akira Toriyama ended up changing his mind, didn't think Gohan's character was right to be the main guy, and that's why the Buu Saga was the clusterfuck that it was, with the kids and the fusion and Goku and 3 and Gohan and Ultimate. That's why the Buu Saga was so messed up with a little bit of everybody. But if Gohan had stayed the hero, if Chi-Chi hadn't, if he had stayed a warrior through the 7 years to the Buu Saga, and he had been the main hero of the Buu arc, would you say Gohan might have been the main hero of all of Dragon Ball Z?
Well, that I gotta say no, because that's just not the way I view the series. I would view Gohan as the hero of that arc, yes, but just if you look at the series as a whole, Goku was like the main protagonist for so long that I can't really say that Gohan was the series, like the hero of the whole series. That's just not the way I view the series. I kind of view the series as an arc by arc basis. And I would definitely view Gohan as the main a hero of the Buu Saga, but not as the whole series as a whole. Definitely no.
So think Goku would just kind of hand it off to him, pass the torch during the Cell Saga then?
Well, yeah, like I consider Gohan to be the main hero of the Cell arc, but I can't really say Gohan's the hero of the whole series just because he was the hero of the Cell arc.
Okay.
That's just my reasoning. That's just the way I view the series.
Yeah, that's understandable.
I get your reasoning, and the way I look at it is because it was Gohan actually growing up. Like that was also something that Gohan had over pretty much everybody else in Z. The fact that he was, aging physically, developing, so to speak, hitting prepubescent stages, and I think it starts when he's 5 years old, if I'm correct, and the Cell Saga ends when he's 11 or 12. I can't remember which one because of hyperbolic time chamber craziness. But, Gohan is the character that's growing up. You see him pretty much at 3 sizes, the 5-year-old size and the Namek size, however old he was when he went to Namek. Then when he came back and hit the hyperbolic time chamber, got a little taller. So you actually see Gohan physically develop as well. And that's why I look at it as While Goku was passing the torch, I feel like the attention was being drawn towards Gohan.
Well, I think we've all kind of given out our points at this point. We might just be going in circles, but I think we've all kind of given out our points. So that's some good points here today. Do you guys have any final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, I think I kind of spilled the beans on everything I had to say.
All right. Well, I think my
final thought is if Chi-Chi didn't exist.
if Chi did, it might have been a whole different story. Yeah, and I think we've kind of all put it out there, Virgo, and I kind of think, even though it's not like obvious right away, Virgo, and I kind of think that it was building up to the Cell Saga. Again, Buu Saga was the clusterfuck. Up to the Cell Saga, it was all kind of behind the scenes, actually, about Gohan and his development and building up. And Blackenfist says no, it's Goku is the star, he's the front runner. He may have passed it off at the Cell Saga, but it was Goku and potentially the rest of the gang leading up until then. I think that's all right. I want to know what you guys think in the comment section down below on who you think. Maybe there's somebody else who we should have mentioned that should have stuck out, or maybe what are you guys thinking? Are you crazy? It's clearly Goku or Gohan or whatever. Just let us know what you think in the comment section down. Be sure to hit the like button if you guys enjoyed. I have been here with Blackenfist and Virgo Durai, and their channels will be linked in the description down below. And we are out. Peace, guys.
Peace out.
See ya.